Hey, Xiomy here. So today I'm going to give you my December wrap up. Now, I really didn't read that many good books in December until like the last one that really like reminisced all my feelings and had me like really content and very joyous as to what I was reading. But the rest were like okay, except one of them. I have to admit, one of them, aside from the last one, was like, oh, magnifique. But let's get into this list. First two books that I'm going to mention are in graphic novel format, and those are Mouse 1, which is My Father Bleeds History, and Mouse 2, and Here My Troubles Began. I have to admit that I really wanted to read these graphic novels as a whole for a while now, and I finally did pick them up, and it really didn't blow my mind as much as I thought it would. The first one, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't that appealing to me, especially because of the father-son relationship that they were having. A lot of things that were happening to the father, the son was very naive towards, and he really didn't understand. I mean, this is post-traumatic stress. I mean, he went through a difficult situation. I was at times reading and I was like, damn, come on, like, understand him. But, in another aspect, I maybe might understand it. In another, I really don't, and I really didn't agree with a lot of things that were happening. But again, that's his tale to tell, and I can't take away from that. But the second one really did appeal a lot more to me because it immersed you a lot more into the events of World War II. And even though these events are tragic to read about, it did immerse me into these things that happened like a long time ago, and it made me reminisce on a lot of things that did transpire. And even though it is painful to read about, I really am content for what it actually did portray, and I really have to admit that I like those aspects. But as a whole, these books really didn't like grab my attention. The second one, I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, which it did appeal to me more. But as a whole, I don't know, I'm still a little bit like iffy about, but I have to admit that I really did enjoy reading the content. The next book that I want to mention is one that I don't have in physical format because I gave it back to my friend, but that is Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Oh my god, I gave this 4.8 out of 5 stars. I love this book. I enjoyed it so much, and how all the allomancy, these metals work, and the fact that you burn them and you get certain misting and or mistborn powers was something that was very incredible. I really hadn't read an epic fantasy this way, and was something that really did immerse me in curiosity, especially in the world building, because it was so fantastic and so different and so unique. And I have to admit that I had a difficult time like understanding certain aspects, but once or at least this is how I got it. I first read the table that was on the back with all the elemental powers and how you get, these metals when you burn them. And then I started reading the story and I was like, okay, I'm getting it. And then as the story, progresses, you get to learn a lot more. And I really have to admit that I love this story. I loved certain characters a lot. Like Kelsier was my favorite character out of every single one of them. And also Zazd, I loved him so much. I can't say that I loved Vin a lot because I have to say that she has a lot of YA tropes to her, and something that I really wasn't agreeing with a lot more with her, and she was like a little bit annoying me in certain aspects. I did get the way that she acted at times, but at times she was like a bit annoying to me. But I want to continue this series because I want to know where does it lead to, and I have to admit that certain parts made me feel so stupid because I was thinking differently than what you actually have to think. It's like those little hints are more important than the overall projective of the story, and I was like, damn, I feel so stupid now. But it was an amazing reading experience, and I really did love that book. And Kelsier, I've never loved the character as much as I love Kelsier. That's all I'm going to say. Oh my god. I have to admit that I only cried like in one specific moment in the book, and I was like, I'm not going to forgive you for this. Again, I understand why was it that those events transpired, but I'm not going to say why because it's major spoiler. But honestly, I suggest for everybody to read The Mistborn. It's very, very intriguing, and it will capture your attention because it's very good. The next book that I read was The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I gave this 4.9 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this story. I didn't think I was going to connect to it as much as I did, and even though it's told from a male's point of view, there were certain things that had me like really nostalgic, especially when they speak about cassettes and VCRs, and I was like, oh my god, these are my times. There were a lot of things, like I mentioned, that made me reminisce in those times. But I really have to admit that I really did enjoy the story for everything that it did portray. I mean, it speaks a lot about topics that really weren't mentioned a lot, especially in the time that I was growing up, and I have to admit that it's raw with them, and I enjoyed them, especially with the main character's face. And even though it is told in format of letters, you want to know certain aspects, like a little bit more about your main protagonist. You want to know like how the hell does he look, who the hell is he actually writing to. But it is something that is very intriguing, and it stuck with me on an emotional level, and I really enjoyed it. I want to read it again, so this is one of my rereads for 2017. The next book that I'm going to mention is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It really didn't appeal to me as much as the first one did, and the first one made me feel like a child, and I loved all the wizard vibes and all the witchery that was being explained throughout the entire story. Is something that I really did love. In this book, I really didn't like that much of it. I mean, beginning was okay, the middle was just it was just a mess completely. The ending I really did enjoy, but to me, like, the beginning, I hate the Dursleys. That's all I'm gonna say. As much as this story continues to progress, I continue to loathe the Dursleys like so much. They were completely mean, even more in this book, and I really I despise them like so much. But I have to admit that the middle of this story were just subplots that really weren't amounting to that much, and I really wasn't interested by any of the things that were happening, and it was just like I was reading it to read it, but I wasn't reading it to enjoy it. So that's why I have to say that this is 4 out of 5 stars for me. But I am going to continue the series because I want to know where does it lead to. But as of right now, this one is not my favorite in the series. The next one that I'm going to mention is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. This is a fairy tale for adults, and I didn't enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it at all. If you take away the sex scene, this is a story for children, honestly. I didn't enjoy the character. I thought he was gullible, he was stupid, he lacked an emotional love and any kind of emotional empathy toward anybody. I think when the star was introduced was one that I kind of enjoyed, but she was used as an object instead of a living being. I didn't like that much the evil characters. Again, not everybody gets their comeuppance, but honestly, it wasn't something that I enjoyed, and that's why I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Also, there were so many things that were bombarded in this story that I was trying to grasp, but it was just like, what the hell am I reading? Honestly, I really didn't enjoy it. There were so many things that I found that were like not so good about it, so that's why I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. But I am probably soon gonna have an entire like review on Goodreads, so when I do it, I'll link it down below. The final one that I read for the month was one that like really made me content, because I was like, yes, finally a good book, and that is a reread for me. So I reread Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Ali de Sainz. I love this book. I enjoyed it so much. It's still 5 out of 5 stars. This book was just so captivating and so emotional, and I love all the Hispanic flares to it. It was a very good book. Well, those are all the books that I read for the month of December. If you want to tell me which was your favorite, mine was definitely Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe and Mistborn. But that's it for my video. I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.